welcome into another episode of the Benchwarmers. I'm Alex, he's Daniel, and there is nothing going on right now.
Major League Baseball, bro.
I mean,
like
okay.
the hottest topic in the world.
Yeah.
WNBA. What will Caitlin
The Commissioner's
Clark
Cup
do next? Like Kelsey Plum, Asia Wilson. I'm being facetious partially. I mean, there's small amounts of things going on. Namely, there's not much football news, which
Right.
is what America cares about.
Yeah.
Like it consumes us 365, 366 on leap years.
Yep.
But not a lot of spicy talk going on. You got NBA free agency, Miles Turner leaving Indy, going to Milwaukee. Kevin Durant's trade to the Houston Rockets, that kind of trickled out a couple of weeks ago, but now became official, involving 7 teams apparently, which is insane. I haven't delved too much deep into the weeds on that, but sparse, we can call it, in terms of overall live sports to pay attention to. Something that happened last night that kind of speaks to it. The Gold Cup, USA versus Mexico. The United States lost to Mexico 2-1 in Houston. But that was that was the thing I was watching yesterday.
We're in the
I was
World Cup.
invested in.
We're still in the World Cup either way, right?
I think it's the part of the host countries that, and since it's shared between Canada, the United States, and Mexico, I think Mexico City, Guadalajara for Mexico, Vancouver won. I could be wrong about Mexico City. I would hope Mexico City has a World Cup match, but the bulk of the matches will be in the United States. So, we're in. I think we will play group stages at some point and be like, all right, yeah, you're officially in.
And we won't win, and
yeah.
I mean, whatever.
But
it's fine. We got flag football coming up.
Yeah, a lot of soccer talk right now, thanks to me. But I would like to further continue soccer talk with potentially attending a game in Houston or Dallas over the summer. So next summer, if I have any vacation days left from my honeymoon, I might be taking a day off, even if the United States isn't playing at said venue. Just going to experience. I almost don't want to get a United States match. I want to see Brazil versus
something you wouldn't be able to see normally.
Argentina or a European nation. I want to see that insane fan base. I don't know if I would be able to get a ticket.
Yeah.
But the soccer environment's top-notch sports atmosphere.
There's nothing like the World Cup. I mean, it is like the world's biggest tournament in
literally.
sport. Yeah.
It's in the name.
Yeah, and it kind of goes to that thing the experience in a stadium, even if you're don't have that great rooting interest, it can still be awesome. Even if you're not a fan of LSU football and you live in Louisiana, you should probably go to Tiger Stadium and check it out because it's pretty freaking cool. Stuff like that, right?
Highly recommend.
Yeah. We had the 4th of July. We had the Freedom Fest.
Freedom isn't free, and Freedom Fest finale is not free. We pay with it with our sweat, and some of us pay with it with our, getting rained on. So I don't know. Hopefully you didn't have any electronics get zapped in the brief rain spell.
No, we were good. So we were out at Cypress Lake. That was our location. Madeline and I, my photographer, best in the business. We were initially on the beach. That was our first. We could talk to people and whatever. But then when we were getting closer to fireworks time, we relocated because we had a direct connection to Starlink, so our signal would not go down while we were shooting the fireworks. Signal was spotty. I mean, we're out in Benton, middle of nowhere, so the signal's not great regardless. So we moved locations, and right as we got in the car, we moved over, and right as we got all the equipment out, the rain came. Now, thankfully, there was a pier or a dock or whatever right where we were, so we sprinted under there, got all the equipment, so we were good. Madeline unfortunately got rained on a lot more than I did because she was kind of just caught in it. I was closer to the thing, and I had all the gear with me, so I just took off the gear, so we were good. So we had a great view of under that dock, and we were like, all right, we're here. We're chilling.
Yeah.
Sun was up. Everything was good. Getting closer to fireworks, sun begins to go down.
Yeah.
I look up to the corner of this dock, and I see one really large spider doing his thing on his web. I'm like, all right, cool. Stay away from that. I keep looking. I see another one. Kind of the same area. I'm like, okay.
All right.
Keep doing our thing. Look up again. I see 5 of them. I'm like,
they're growing in number.
Yeah, and the sun has at this point gone down significantly, so it's pretty dark out there. So I'm like, get my phone out.
Yeah.
Turn on the flashlight. I'm like,
nightmare fuel.
Look up. Oh man.
Nightmare fuel.
Yeah, like hundreds.
Like Harry Potter.
Yes.
Like massive.
So many spiders.
Yeah.
And so Madeline had already told me she was deathly afraid of them. So I was like, hey, Madeline, we're going to take the gear and we're going to leave this pier
right
in a quick fashion, and we're not going to look up, and we're just going to walk right out of here.
Yeah.
And so we got out. No spider contact was made. But it was...
that's it's one thing to see one spider. It's another thing to see dozens. And numbering into the hundreds.
It had to be. There were so many. I've never seen that many spiders in one setting in my life.
Yeah, there was one time leaving the parking lot in the employee parking lot at KTBS. You know how we got the trees over there. A spider had somehow quickly managed to make a spider web on one of the sports vehicle and a tree, and I almost walked clean into it. And this was a nice sized spider, but credit to the spider for doing some quick work, because I was just in the sports vehicle and it was like, it had a nice, it
happened so fast.
And I was like, I'm going to avoid this. And I went around. I don't know what eventually happened to that spider, but that spider web was no longer there. But they do some quick work.
Yeah, well, when I was early in my career here, my old house in Houghton, I had like a months-long war with this spider.
Yeah.
I could not get rid of it out right on my front thing, and he would literally block the carport with his web, and I can't remember how I got rid of him.
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't say that on a recording now that I'm thinking about how I did it.
Well,
there was a lighter.
I don't know if Pete is going to come at you.
Well, no, it wasn't safe.
Okay, it wasn't the most well thought out.
There was a lighter and a can of Axe involved.
Okay.
So it made a little flamethrower action.
Right. I think we've all done that at some point.
It worked.
Like, this is cool.
It worked.
Yeah, hey, spiders.
I won the war.
Spiders gone.
That's right.
Yeah.
No more spiders. So that was terrifying. But overall, the weather was, way better than it was a year ago.
Yeah.
It really wasn't that hot.
Yeah, the Freedom Fest finale compared to 2 years ago, where, I don't know, it just felt like the sun was just on top of you the entire time. A little breezy here and there. I was in Jefferson, Texas. Shout out to Jefferson, Texas. Ottstott Park.
Yeah.
The place to be. Cake auction, ice cream competition. They have the children's parade where all the kids come out in their strollers and tricycles, bicycles, wagons. Very fun event there in Jefferson. Make your way out there to get the experience of July 4th, kind of just at its core, really. Celebrating the country, having a good time, and listening to some music. The Shreveport Metropolitan Concert Band always provides some great tunes. They go through kind of all of your classics, the Beatles, Rolling Stones, whatever. And then they go through at the end and they play, for lack of a better word, the fight song for the armed forces, the various armed forces. It's a very cool event. I feel like I make people jealous by talking about it so much, because everybody's like, oh man, this was a struggle here. And I'm just like, man, it was awesome.
Yeah, like ours was cool outside of the spider situation, but we got out of that, quick.
And of course the fireworks by Power
Yeah, the
Mania.
fireworks are awesome.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that.
Yeah.
Kind of jumping all over the place. I should have said this when we were talking about Little Hoops, but you got to hang out with Robert Williams for a little bit.
Yeah, Robert Williams recording this on a Monday. This will air on a Wednesday. Robert Williams was in town for a 2-day camp at LSUS. I want to say the third year he's held it at LSUS. And former Boston Celtics big man, now with the Portland Trail Blazers as a center. And a kid you just want to root for to have a healthy season, be able to contribute for long term, because he was an important piece for that Boston Celtics lineup for years. They trade him away, and then the next year they win the title, so I kind of feel bad for him. So I want him to experience some NBA success. Not that he hasn't already. You get my larger point.
Yeah.
But got a family, got a young family, teaching this kid. He was talking about how he's not sure if he wants to drive home, play basketball, son, but it's starting to get to him. I kind of want to see my son want to play basketball. So shout out to Robert Williams and the entire staff of the Caddo Parish Parks and Recreation Department for volunteering their time to go out there, provide a free camp for the kids, catered, feeding all of them. Just always fun to see the youth of the Arklatex have a good time. And you put yourself in their shoes of man, I was once 7, 8 years old. And I remember having to make this shot, and it was the biggest thing ever, and that sticks with you for a while. And the fact that they get to meet an NBA player from their neck of the woods, Northwest Louisiana. Shout out Oil City. Shout out Vivian. Where he spent most of his time. But Shreveport embraces him every year for the summer, and hopefully it continues year in and year out.
And he was a beast at North Caddo.
Oh my God.
There's nobody could stop
It's
Robert
when
Williams.
you see it, you know it. This is D1 talent.
Right.
Kind of like when you saw Devin White play.
Yes.
That guy's going to the league.
Didn't matter what position.
Yeah,
He was
Robert Williams,
unbelievable.
going to the league.
And you could speak to this too, but the maturation of Robert from the Time Lord days where he would never show up on time in Boston to how he is now.
How he earned the name. He was late to his opening press conference, basically.
Yeah.
Because of whatever happened for him getting up there. But a young man that matures, and we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't have it all together at 19, 20 years old, and now he's 24, 25. Robert, sorry if I got your age wrong there. But it takes time to mature, and not everybody's on the same path of like.
And not everybody was like the king of their city at 17 years old.
Right. But he's always great to see him, dap him up, everything like that. But yeah, Robert Williams, shout out to the Portland Trail Blazers, number 35.
Yeah, he's awesome. So glad that he's able to come back.
But also, just kind of also a point, I found it very interesting of where he was describing what the camp's purpose was, to teach him the basics of the game, listening to coaches. He brings up just like, we're not expecting people to be LeBrons and Durant's. So in an NBA player's mind, they put those two players as the pedestal. Obviously, LeBron for reasons, the all-time points leader, 4 rings. Maybe get the number, but a lot of accolades.
Are we counting the bubble ring?
So we're counting the Cleveland Cavs. He won twice in Miami and once in LA.
Well,
we'll count the bubble ring. Look, everybody played in the same conditions.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, yeah. I'm the LeBron defender in the KTBS sports department.
I'm the hater.
And we like to needle each other on that point. But I'll say this. I'm on Bob Griffin's side on this argument. So
Bob was
Bob
mega.
Griffin was a huge LeBron James fan. So
some of the best nights of my life was those Spurs Heat series. Sitting up here watching it with Bob, he'd get so mad.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
Bob's face is still in the sports office, so it's 2-1 LeBron James.
So we've got 2 LeBron James lovers, we got 1 hater, and then we have the Caitlin Clark superfan and Jeff Beinfor, who we actually kind of baited into getting fired up earlier.
Let me tell you something. It's fun. It's fun to needle Jeff a little bit on the Caitlin Clark point, but it's also like we do have to view Caitlin Clark in the proper perspective of she is a phenom.
Greatest of all time.
She's done things that we've never seen before, but she is not the best player in the WNBA. She may be the most talked about, most visually known, but Asia Wilson is elite.
I would
do a lot of different things.
Lower the volume a bit because Jeff might barge in here like the Kool-Aid man.
What did you say? What? But Caitlin Clark, elite level, and she gets a lot of hate that she doesn't deserve. We kind of continuing the discussion that we had in the sports department. Apparently, she was rated as the 8th best ninth best guard in the league, even worse
by the players.
Right, but then also wasn't Tyrese Halliburton rated as
most
like
overrated
the most
player?
overrated
And I think that's,
and it wasn't like a full poll. It was like only a certain amount of players responded on the wide. So it's not a full sample size, right? So it's not like everybody anonymous poll voted. It was like if we had to just throw out a number, 31 players were polled, 10 responded. In terms of the rate of response, it was probably greater numbers than that in terms of actual respondents, but in terms of the ratio. So not everybody responded. So maybe Caitlin Clark is probably 5th best guard in the league. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, Jeff says number 1 ever, but
Caitlin Clark's number 1 in his heart.
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned Bob. Perfect segue to our interviews. We have 2 legends of KTBS sports, and with Tatum Everett and Paul Crane. You'll see in the interview, Paul was a little surprised for Tatum.
Yeah.
And the timeline kind of goes, Tim Fletcher left, he quit KTBS, and then they brought in Paul Crane.
Mm-hmm.
I was a producer doing news at the time, and in that moment in between where Fletcher was gone and we hadn't hired anyone yet, I was writing sports for Bob to do.
Yeah.
And Paul came in to interview, and one of the pieces of Paul taking the job was that he would have me to help him out in sports. So for me personally, anytime I get a chance to talk to Paul, it's amazing, it's life-changing for me. Really started my career, gave me the belief that I could do what I do now. Much different times back then. And then he was here for 2 years, worked with Tatum and I, and then he left. Tatum became sports director, and then that's when we hired Daniel Brown.
Brought me in, yeah.
A little family reunion today. It was nice for Daniel to get to meet Paul, and I say it in the interview, but it is kind of our era
Yeah.
of KTBS sports, and where our footprint really started was back then with Paul.
Yeah.
And so nice to get to talk to them. Tatum just killing it in Minnesota.
Love it.
Not surprising at all. So let's go to our interview now. A little family reunion for KTBS Sports. You know, I say every guest is special, but this guest is really special.
The most special?
The specialist of the special, Tatum Everett, former KTBS 3 sports director, one of our best friends in the world.
Yeah.
We figured, look, it's that time of the year where there's not much going on, a perfect time to have a little reunion. Tatum, how is it going? I assume you're in Minnesota right now?
Yeah, I just got back from a visit to my in-laws over in Charleston. But yeah, we're here in Minnesota. As you said, there's not a lot going on right now. We had the last week off for the 4th of July. I still every year think about the festival that we had to do that we covered for so long and the amazing fireworks that were put on. Still think about that to this day. But yeah, we're about to get ramped up. This week's a little slow for us, and then we'll kind of ease back in next week, and then training camp starts, and it's so busy until I guess February.
Yeah, we just wrapped up that festival on
Being
Friday.
off on the 4th of July, what is that?
Yeah, it's a weird concept. I've never experienced being off on the 4th of July, but it was a lot of fun, except for when Madeline and I had to dodge spiders. I'll tell you about that off camera. It was
Okay.
a scary time.
Yikes.
But with the Vikings getting ready for training camp, obviously at the end of the month. Well, I guess let's tell our viewers a little bit about what you do with the Vikings, and maybe people that haven't been able to keep up with you as much.
Sure. Yeah, so right now I'm the on-air talent and content manager for the Vikings. Basically, it means I do a lot of what I did for KTBS in-house for the Vikings media. So the fun thing that I get to do is that there are so many specialized, talented people in our Vikings Entertainment Network that like I haven't picked up a camera in four
Wow.
years, or I don't edit my own things because they're way better than me at all of that stuff. So I just get to focus on my on-air duties, which is really fun. I do a lot of hosting, interviews, appearances, emceeing, anything that needs that type of skill set that's front facing for our organization, I get to do. So I do get to travel with the team. I get to go to combine, draft, owners meetings, um, you name it. It's just kind of NFL honors. I was there for the Super Bowl this year. So those kinds of things are really cool. And then like the content manager side of things, as you two probably know best, I get to like put my organizational skills to work
Oh
and
yeah.
boss people around, which is really what, my hidden talent is. So don't know how hidden that is, but yeah, I mean it is really cool because that's kind of like a different like leadership style role that I'm kind of stepping into as I enter my fifth season there, which
Wow.
is just crazy.
Yeah, and Tatum, just a journalism nerd aspect side of me, how do you balance you inform the fans of things going on behind the scenes,
Hmm.
giving them behind the look of what goes on with Vikings players and the organization as a whole, and yourself as wanting to be someone that maybe finds a nugget that they don't
Yeah.
want to reveal or something like that? How do you kind of balance being a journalist and also being a supporter of the Vikings at the same time?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the crux of the job, right? Like that's exactly how you would have to describe it because there is so much that you have to you word things a certain way. You try to always have like a positive spin to things because at the end of the day, you are a part of the organization. And my office is like right down the hall from player meetings room, and so it's like you don't want to like get anyone in trouble. I actually kind of use it to my advantage a lot of times because if I'm asking for an interview or for something that I need on camera, they know they can trust me that I'm not going to put them in a bad spot. So I try to use that to my advantage. But it's definitely a very, very thin line. It's really interesting from this perspective because I know so much more about the goings-ons of things than I ever have before because obviously I was on the other side of the media. But I think you guys probably know this about me the best, but I get uncomfortable in those breaking news situations. I making those calls, chasing that stuff down is exhausting. It's 24/7, and I enjoy not having to do that. To be really honest, it's more of like that PR marketing style role, and I love it. I get to focus on the storylines and the positive stuff, and lucky for us, two of my four seasons have been really, really fun. So that makes it a lot easier for sure.
And something that I think we both like and have an affinity for is LSU. LSU guy on the team, Jets, Justin Jefferson. What was it like meeting him for
Hmm.
the first time and sharing that bond as two LSU Tigers being in Minnesota at the same time?
Yeah, I mean that was like the coolest part of it all. I mean, the other like it was last off season. I walked into the team store just trying to pick a couple things up, and his dad was in there, and we talked for like 30 minutes about LSU and the Super Bowl and things like that. But the fact that he is one of the biggest faces of the league, and he's from St. Rose, he went to LSU, like he's now in Minnesota. It's just the coolest part. It makes it so much fun. I don't interact with him as much as like I would love to just because of who he is. It's right. It's a little bit more difficult, but whenever I get to see him, he's so gracious, so nice. I did an interview last off season when he signed his contract extension with the whole family. It was Elaine, John, his parents, his brother Jordan, and it was so fun. It felt so at home. They just, they feel like home, and so I think that makes it so much easier for someone like me. But yeah, we kind of have that bond, and it's been really cool. Our LSU numbers used to be a lot higher. We're kind of dwindling. I think it's just him and Jay Ward, and I'm a little sus right now about that. So, oh my God,
I'm looking for Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell's office.
Yes.
Yes.
this is
Paul's
so
here. It
amazing.
worked. We got him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey,
Surprise, surprise.
Hi, Paul.
hello, Tatum. Hello,
Oh my God,
Alex.
I get
What's up, dude?
teary-eyed.
Oh, me too. Good to see you.
Yeah,
Oh my God,
Tatum.
it's so good to see you.
Hey, I've got so many questions to ask you, and I appreciate Alex inviting me to get a chance to say hi to you, but I'm dying to know how are you going to do the LSU Player of the Week in Minnesota this year when there are only two former LSU players there?
That's how good he is.
Can't believe that. Yeah, I mean, I can't. I try not to be biased, but I'm pretty sus. I mean, I got actually okay. Funny story, you guys. Jeff Traylor, the coach at Gilmer
Right.
that we covered their state championship run. His son is one of our assistant quarterback coaches. I haven't got a chance to meet him yet. But that was really weird. But I still have my Tatum Eagle helmet on my desk at work. And
Yes.
when I got to the Vikings, Chris Boyd, who used to play for Gilmer, was one of our players. And for the longest time, um, he said he was like looking at he's like, why is that helmet at someone's desk? He said that for like the longest time. And I told him, like, I was like, that's my desk. He goes, oh, now I get it. But like he saw that helmet and was like already just fed up with it.
Well, of all the, and not to jump in and take over anything, but I will say of all the things I've been able to do, few have measured up to being able to say, let's go to Tatum and Tatum.
Oh yeah.
I know. Such good
Nothing better.
times.
And so yeah,
Oh my God, this is
we wanted to
crazy.
have Paul on to surprise you, to have a little family reunion, and we wanted Daniel and Paul to meet. This is the first time ever.
Right.
Yeah, they've never met each other.
What's up, Paul?
Not physically, but I'm well aware of his work as you all have done such a great job and continue to keep the
Hmm.
bar raised very high. And Daniel does a nice job. It's great to see him still there. And
Yeah.
Alex hasn't run him out of the building yet.
Yeah,
Yeah, they haven't kicked me
Shocking,
out just
really.
yet. So.
Shocking.
we're still here, and this is kind of like our era of KTBS sports, right?
Yeah.
And that's I love all you guys so much. I just wanted to get everyone together, and this is the 70th year anniversary of KTBS. So we wanted to get all
Oh,
this crew
wow.
together and talk about what this place meant to y'all. And I guess we could start with Paul. I mean, you're here for a short time, but I mean, you're on with us here years later. You've made lifelong friends. Well, Paul, how would you describe your time at KTBS?
Well, it's hard to sum it up in a sentence, but while I've been really fortunate in my career, I will say that those were two of the most satisfying years I've ever experienced. You and Tatum are two of the biggest reasons why, but everyone treated me so well, and we did a lot. We accomplished a lot. I think we were able to what we did with Friday Football Fever, and you guys really drove that bus. But the work that was done, Randy Bain remains one of the finest news directors or news managers I've ever worked for. George Servin allowed us the freedom to do a lot of things. So the people treated us great. I was treated well, but really working with you, Alex and Tatum, is just one of the highlights of my not just career, but life.
Yeah, I would echo that. I mean, both of you
Same.
changed my life. I mean, I think about stuff Paul would tell me all the time. Well, Tatum had it written on her desk. Do one thing well, to hell with everything else.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's stuff that we live by.
Still on my desk. It is
Oh,
still on my desk at the Vikings.
that's
I
Uh,
still have that.
and
Still up there.
Tatum, I would ask you the same question I asked Paul. You were here a little longer. We spent a lot of time together. All three of us did.
Yeah.
How would you describe your time at KTBS?
It was some of the most fun times I had as in local TV, hands down. I mean, the best stop I had made. It was, I knew when I left that I wanted bigger, but just because it was bigger doesn't mean it was easier or more fun. Um, I love to thank Paul because he came in and made his dream way bigger than we were. And so I think that kind of set the tone for the next, 3 years I was there. And yeah, I mean, I still have that quote from you, like same piece of paper on my desk, because there are just some things that, you, I think, helped Alex and I form a vision and figure out who we were on air. And KTBS believed in us and sent us to do big journalism things when we weren't a huge like a huge station. And that's just almost unheard of, I think, in so many places. I look back fondly on the trip I took with Daniel out to Omaha for 12 days, and I
Yeah.
thought about that a lot the last 3 years, obviously, because LSU won the last two. I was like, dang it, why couldn't we have been there for those? But yeah, I mean, it's lifelong friends and lifelong relationships, surprisingly. There are some stations I don't really even talk to anyone anymore, and so this is really cool.
it's people should know, and I know Tatum, in particular also, but just because Shreveport might be a smaller market, that really has nothing to do with the work that is done and can be done. It's just a reflection of the population. And I
Hmm.
would say the work that we did and were allowed to do and encouraged to do was so much better than anything. I'm in Atlanta, and I'm sorry, there's no station in Atlanta that measures up to what we did every single day. And
Damn
I'm
right.
not just saying that because I liked KTBS and being there. I'm saying it because it's a fact. And what we were allowed to do, and I know Tatum and I met when I came in for an interview, and we chatted about what could be. And the station, remember, Alex wasn't in sports yet,
Yeah.
but they allowed Alex to come over and start to spread his wings. And the two of you really helped make it all become what it was. Because, as you know, people may not understand, I came in and we were allowed to do a lot, but I leaned on the two of you like maybe no one has ever leaned on two coworkers ever. And you not only stood, but you stood strong and grew, and it was just a great experience.
Every
Do
time
you
we
guys remember those? Oh, sorry,
no, you
Alex. Do
go.
you guys remember those? I think about this a lot too. The This Is Sports Center
Yep.
style mascot commercials. That may have been some of our finest work.
Yeah, I can
I
remember
use
being
those
in the
as an
conference
example
room
every
with
year.
all these mascots. Yeah.
The picture's still up of the
Yeah.
Minden Crimson Tide mascot.
Yeah, we still have the picture of all of us with the Crimson Tide at the sports desk.
Nice.
It's up on the calendar. And every
I
time
love
they
it.
come to us asking for promo ideas, I'm like, well, go check these out because we had something going here. I still think my
So
favorite one was the Parkway mascot crawling on the keyboard when Paul was trying to type. I
yes.
love that. And Coach Ab. Coach Ab giving Paul the
Coach
business.
Ab, that was
Oh
a good
yeah,
one.
it was drilling me. Yeah. Oh yeah, that was great. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
that
It
was
was so
awesome.
funny.
The last time we were all together on the phone, we were also crying because that's when Paul called us in the group call to tell us he was leaving.
Oh my God, that was like the worst day of my
Yeah,
life.
I was laying in bed like, no. And you knew what it was, too. And he called us in the group call. You knew what it was. But, Paul, I wanted to ask you the same thing we asked Tatum. What do you have going on now, and where can people find you?
I'm busy as can be. I was most recently working at Scripps News as their national sports correspondent. I'm now kind of spreading my own wings once again. But I wanted to say when I called and was leaving, I thought where you were going was because I had this opportunity to go to India and be part of this group that was bringing professional basketball to India. And while that too was really a wonderful life experience, it didn't work out the way I thought it was going to. But that's okay. That's okay. Um, I not that I have any regrets, but I miss you guys.
Yeah, we certainly miss
Yeah,
you. And, it's
miss you
funny.
too.
After Tatum left and I'm going to become sports director, and Daniel can attest to this, I could go one or two ways. I could go the Paul route, I could go the Tatum route. And I used to watch you, Tatum, all the time and think, watching you wait till about 5:50 to start cutting your stuff and stressing out. And I'm thinking, I will never do this. And now I do it
And
every
now
day.
it's
Yeah,
I
you
do the
did.
same
Oh my
thing.
God, I still did it in Nashville for
And I do
years.
it I'm today at about 5:45. I'm going to look up and say, "Ooh, I should start editing now," and then I'm going to
I
be
should
stressed
start
out.
doing that.
It's
Yep.
it's impossible not to do.
I don't know how it's done because I freak out when I through Alex's eyes I see it. I was just like I don't know how he does it. I have to
Well,
be very regimented by it. But
Well, it'll happen to
it's
you,
it's
too.
impressive. It's impressive, I will say.
No one
Yeah,
can
not a.
teach you how to make a deadline, but if you're going to do the job, you have to make a deadline, and work always fills the time allotted, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
I function so much better under a deadline. I get nothing done if I don't have a deadline. Absolutely nothing.
No, I know. We've been doing these 70 stories for 70 years pieces,
Yeah.
and when I get a
Okay.
full day to work on it, I don't know what to do with myself because I have too much time and I'm not under the gun.
Yeah.
It's the worst. I did
So
want to ask.
can I ask you guys?
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
sorry.
No, go ahead. You go.
I want to turn the tables a little bit, but like, what does the Fever show look like now? What have there been any changes? Like, how are you guys looking nowadays?
Our set is immaculate.
Very.
I don't know. Y'all have probably seen the pictures, maybe of the new set. I say new.
Yeah.
It's a couple years old now. So we're going with a more like comic book theme, kind of similar to what Fox was doing in their NFL stuff. So our graphics and everything, Ricardo and the boys upstairs, boys and girls upstairs, do an incredible job. And we have we sit at the big news desk now to make it kind of more like Sports Center. Southern Classic Chicken is our sponsor for the second year in a
Elite
row.
sponsorship.
And so they sponsor everything, like the whole umbrella of Friday Football Fever. It is now called
wow.
Southern Classic Chicken Friday Football Fever. And so we do a lot of cool stuff with them. We still do our top 5 plays. We do the Southern Classic Crunch of the Night, the biggest hit of the night. And one thing that I know both of you will love more than anything, and why don't you tell them about it, is the Griffins Player of the Week.
Yeah, the Griffins Player of the Week, we highlight
Oh.
scholar athletes and basically put the focus on them and what they're doing academically. May not have necessarily a future playing Division I or pro football, but they're going to, to borrow the line from the NCAA, become professionals in other aspects of life, but really putting the focus on them and their team on the academic side. And we highlight them every week and do a Griffins game ball celebration in homage to Bob Griffin, who would highlight a special game of the week, part 2, if
Right.
you will. So it's
So good.
very, honored to continue Bob's legacy, a name that you just mentioned, Bob Griffin, and people's faces light up for all the memories that he created in the Arklatex. And Bob's face is always in the sports department. We have it on a face stick type thing. And,
and we also
I remember those. That was from the induction, I think, right?
And we also were, yes, it was for that Bob celebration, and we do it in conjunction with Doug Ireland and the National Football Foundation. And so
another stellar person.
So they have their watch list of scholar athletes, and we pick our players of the week off of that list. And then at the end, they award 8 a scholarship, and we give the 9th to our player of the year. So all in Bob's name. So great way to keep it going. And shout out to George. It was all his idea, and the perfect way to keep Bob's memory alive. And I wanted to ask both of you about the Griffins game, because I know for me, I've only been here, but by far my favorite thing I've ever worked on my career is the Griffins game. So I wanted to ask both of you guys what it was like, because y'all both got to see it, and what it was like to be able to work with Bob and be part of that as well.
Well, you can go first, Paul.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say that that's another person that in my time in Shreveport was so nice to not just cross paths with him, but get to speak with him and work with him and see him. And then after leaving and seeing, Alex, how the Griffin game ball and watching that on social media, when you put it up, it still warms my heart. And I think it's just another tribute to KTBS that they would continue to not just mention him, but do things like you're doing in his name, because his name and his legacy is definitely deserving of that.
It was so impactful to see how excited the players were. Like, this is it's not like a recognized trophy throughout the state. Like, it's not this like thing. It was something that we named in his honor. He went out and did the work. It's just crazy to me that like that became such a thing because of who he was and his impact on the community. And it was so funny. I just remember always thanking him for being willing every season and every week to go out and do this and spend his Friday nights doing this. And he was always like, stop thanking me. Like, thank you for letting me be a part of this. And I was like, no, stop. Like, it's literally, we are so grateful. And so it's always this back and forth with him, because he didn't have to do it, but it was just such a fun part of the show. I always look forward to it. My favorite one of all would be the one where, and I know you guys know where this is going probably. I think Calvin was out videoing, doing his live shot, and all of a sudden Calvin was like looking somewhere else, and the camera just goes, ooh, and Bob just like falls on the shot.
And Bob, I'll never forget it, because the camera starts moving, and Bob says, and our camera's drifting away kind of the same way Marshall's offense did tonight. Just, I mean, good. Gosh, I think about him every day. As Daniel said, we got the cutout of him sitting right on the sports desk. So much history, and really not that long. I mean, gosh, Paul, how long ago was it when you left KTBS? I guess it's been longer than I probably realized.
Sadly, it's been 10 years.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
It was 2015. Yeah.
That's crazy.
2015.
For me, it was 2013 to 2015 were the two really great years that I got to work with the two of you and everyone at KTBS. It was.
I mean, that's the reason why I stayed for as long as I did. I mean, I was ready to leave after 9 months. I was like, this place, I can't hang here anymore. And then you came in, Paul, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. And it just turned into this thing. And then obviously getting to take over and having Alex and adding Daniel was just so great. I mean, Daniel, you being there for this long has really made me feel good about my hiring, because I've only hired one person ever in my life, and I feel great about it.
I would commend you on your hire.
Great
choice.
Great hire.
In a backhanded way, I have to thank Paul for leaving, to allowing me to come in and be here for 10 years. And Shreveport really is home. I'm from Louisiana native, and it's comfortable here. It is family. Working with one of my best friends, Alex Anderson, it's one of the reasons why I haven't left. And Tatum, working with you, y'all made it enjoyable to be here. And you hear so many things of, the grass isn't always greener. And it's not that, I'm scared to leave or anything like that. I don't want to leave. There hasn't been a reason to leave. I love Shreveport. I love the people here, and just the memories that I've made and will continue to make here in Shreveport, not just in sports, but doing news as well. It's just always fun to be around this community, and it doesn't hurt to have one of your closest friends here being your boss, and it's just kind of working together with your friend. It's really fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's so many things have changed and so many things have stayed the same. And Daniel's engaged now, right? Tatum, you may know.
I know. I wanted to say that before we started. Congratulations.
Thank you. So, and met my fiance here at KTBS. Yep. So it's a very
That's awesome.
Impactful station for me.
I met my husband at KTBS too.
Yeah, something about love at KTBS and just a match made in heaven, I guess. I don't know.
For some of us, not all. But yeah, how's Josh
I
doing?
arrived married and am still married to Marie. So.
Yay!
Okay, 2 questions for Tatum. How's Josh doing, and is Luna present? Could we get Luna on camera?
Oh, yeah. Hey, Josh.
Yes.
Can you bring Luna up?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, Josh is doing great. He's starting his own production company up here with one of his best friends. So they're starting their own thing. He got out of local news. Oh, there she is. He got out of local news a couple years ago. It's been great not having that schedule because he was actually traveling with me to Vikings games with his station. And this is our Shreveport girl.
Yeah.
Look at her.
Oh, I know.
What's up, girl?
Yeah.
Legend.
Josh. Look, Paul.
Hey. Shout out Liverpool.
Yeah, sorry,
what
I have
a
my
beautiful
headphones
family.
in. I know, but yeah, so
Luna's like,
you don't know the story, Paul, but Josh found Luna on a story he was covering in a parking lot in Shreveport when she was like 6 weeks old. So she's my Louisiana girl. I got to reunite with her when I moved up here to follow Josh, which is why we're in the north. But
right.
yeah,
That's
so
enough camera time.
she turned 7 this year.
Nice. Beautiful.
Yeah. So it's great.
And how are you handling the Minnesota winters?
Not great, Paul. Not great. As you would imagine.
It's the coldest place I've ever been, and
it's rough. We have a house here, we're very lucky. We bought a house about 2 or 3 years ago, and so snow plowing, shoveling is like real life. I will say it's really pretty when it snows, but what I didn't know about the winter is that it's just absolutely disgusting to live in. It's just like muddy and gross, and you have to layer, which as being a native Louisianian and like not knowing how to layer, it's been a real challenge.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. I can remember my first time there in the winter was for a Super Bowl, but looking at all the glass walkways in Minneapolis between buildings, and people were like, "Well, yeah, it's too cold for human skin to endure, so that's why you have these glass walkways." And that phrase, that's just not okay. Too cold for human skin.
Yes, it will snow around Halloween, and then we'll get a final snow usually like mid-April. So that's how long we have.
I think says spring more than a
winter.
Final
snow. Yeah, final snow. I remember I went to Florida one April and got home and then it snowed. And I was like, this is not the life I want. I don't know how long we'll be here. My job is amazing. I work for the best organization in the league. I'm biased, but I have learned that a lot of it's true. Our ownership is amazing. They treat us so well. Carved out a really good role within my organization, and I really like the staff. After my first year, they fired the whole front office, and it was right after COVID, so I knew nobody, and then I got to start over with a new GM and a new head coach, and obviously they have extensions, and I'm excited. So I like being around them. I feel like I'm part of, a really fun thing right now. So I don't know how much longer I'll be here. But, Paul, we still do the NFL pension program. So that's also keeping me here a little bit
okay.
too.
Well,
yes, we do.
10 years is key. 10 years. Absolutely. So Skoll.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes,
Skoll.
yes. So we'll see.
Right.
We'll see.
And the purple and gold color scheme has to help, right, Taylor?
Yeah, it works.
Oh my God, it's the best. I buy so many LSU things from local boutiques in Louisiana online to wear to games because I'm like, where else am I going to find it?
Yep. Guys, just literally sitting there listening to y'all talk, I was kind of getting misty-eyed. It just took me back to sitting back in the newsroom. I love you all so much. You three people have been so impactful to my life in so many ways, and I don't want to get too teary-eyed because I do have a show to anchor here in about an hour or 50-something minutes. So we do need to wrap it up. We have to do this again
Yes.
at some point. Maybe we can do a Tatum episode and then do a Paul episode, or maybe we just do it all together again. I don't know, but
I hope Tatum will forgive me for crashing.
No, I was going to say, wait,
Tatum's
I don't want
party.
Paul to have his own episode. I want to be a part of it.
all right. Well, this was our plan. We've been working on this for about a week to try to surprise
Oh my
you.
God, I can't believe
So,
this.
I knew I was like, well, we're getting Tatum on. We got to get Paul, and I wanted Daniel to meet as well. So it's really great, guys. Thank y'all so much for coming on the show. And again, we'll do it again, maybe before football season or something, or maybe in the middle of football season to kind of break everything up. But we'll figure it out. I love you guys so much.
Enjoy the jamborees. Good luck.
Thank you. Best,
Love you guys.
Best guests ever on the Benchwarmers. Paul Crane, Tatum Everett. Thank you guys so much.
Go Tigers.
Love you guys. Go Tigers.
Tatum's reaction was perfect. The surprise.
It was like the initial shock on the face. At first, I was caught off guard. Like, wait, oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that was awesome. And I think I know Tatum was certainly getting emotional. I know I was getting very emotional. And I'll say it again because assuming Paul's going to watch this back, but I do a bad job of saying things to people. But I have said it to Paul before. But I would not be doing what I'm doing if it wasn't for that man and the work he put in here. He was a sports director over in Dallas. He did sports for CNN. I mean, we had just never been exposed to someone like that, or me. I had never been exposed to someone like that before. And that's no disrespect to anyone that came before. It was just different, right?
Yeah. And we all have our own experiences, and that was your experience.
Yeah, and I don't think it was a combination of two people. And we were joking about Jeff earlier, but it was Paul. And then Jeff was his co-anchor for CNN Sports, and that's how Jeff came to work here too, is because of Paul.
Yeah.
And Paul gave me the tools necessary to do this job. And then as I worked with Jeff on the weekends, I was like, anyone that's watched Jeff knows his personality shows on air, and that's more my style, right?
Yeah.
I would say you're more of a Paul Crane style of a sportscaster. Both are good, but with Jeff it was like, I could do that.
Yeah.
Like that's definitely up. So those two guys and Tatum, and it's just you don't see a lot of that. You don't notice that stuff if you're a viewer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the impact that people have in our lives or your lives as they come through, and just to get all of us together on screen and with you included, it really was special. I mean, I said it in the interview. Those three people, you and those two, I don't know what life would be if I never met any of you guys, and it really is awesome.
And I made the point there in a weird way. I have to thank Paul Crane for leaving, because without him, I wouldn't be here at KTBS. But I was generally enjoying just seeing y'all three interact with each other and have y'all little conversation, just being a fly on the wall, just kind of look at these three, just yucking it up and having.
Well, it's similar to like how we have now.
Yeah.
And we have this, which we kind of bring our newsroom conversations to. On air now, but it was just kind of the same deal, and people don't realize it, and we'll get to that point, and I'm sure we're going to talk about this more when we get there, but when it comes to high school football season and a sports market in the South, I mean, we're going to war together. I mean, we're in the trenches, man. Like, it is like we're here almost every day,
from the
late
August
hours.
Heat, July heat to the colds of December. It's a grind.
And it's
but it's an enjoyable grind.
Right, and it's very similar to a sports team, the way it works, right? Like, we have a season, we have games on Friday night, that's our game day, and we have to work together. It doesn't work, the show's not as good as it could be if one of us slacks off. You know what I'm saying? And it was the same with Tatum and Paul.
And it's truly a team effort, behind the scenes, production, all the camera people that are able to help us out when they can help us out. It is a full team effort, more than just the on-air presence that you see, not mentioned in our conversation with Tatum. Sideline Sydney Lane helping us out last year, continuing that legacy. Cassandra Merritt helping us out in the past.
That's
so
right.
many people.
Amanda Atwell.
Yeah, Amanda Atwell as well. So many names and faces that help us out that you see on camera, but even more behind the scenes. That help us out as well to put that product on air.
Matt, Logan, Savannah, Madeline, Kanisha, the goats of Friday Football Fair. And we should do that.
Southern Classic Chicken Friday.
Classic Chicken Friday Football Fair. But we should do that when we get maybe toward the end of the season, we should literally have everyone on this show.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Like, let's just have a big group in here, and we'll just.
I like because they do that at the end of the year, kind of thing. Hey, everybody, say hi.
Yeah.
You know, if they're willing to be on
Right.
camera and participate.
Well, the problem is doing it in the show, and I ran into this last year, is that
Yeah.
it's also 11 at night on Friday, and
Right.
people don't really want to stick around in December.
Right.
But
I think if we like take a picture at least
Yeah.
and just like pop them up on screen, I'm sure that we can figure something
Yeah,
out.
we'll work on that. But yeah, so many things go into it. I know we both have ticked off this week. I'll let you go first because mine is kind of a repeat of the last 14 years of my life.
It was a story in a NOLA.com article about how LSU plans to pay for student athletes to get fairly compensated. Revenue sharing, $20.5 million that schools have to pay to compensate their athletes, and you have to find ways to generate revenue. And LSU, believe it or not, actually operated a deficit, and this was before the House settlement that opened revenue sharing with these schools. And one of the revenue streams that LSU is planning to do, if the NCAA approves it, I can see Alex's smile, is that they're going to have sponsorship patches on LSU football jerseys. And
not just football.
Not just football,
Yeah.
LSU athletics as a whole, but I mean, my brain goes football.
Yeah, that's what everyone.
But it goes to the antithesis of what sports is. I mean, yes, it is no longer amateur athletics, and it shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
Athletes need to be compensated, and I'm glad it's happening. But in my lizard brain, it goes against everything to my core of seeing a Zatarans patch or a Canes patch.
Raisin Cane's.
Or it could be
Southern
whatever.
Classic Chicken.
If we get a Get Gordon G on the LSU,
kinda
who would
dope.
probably
That's
be
kinda
first in line,
dope.
my brain can't comprehend it. And I don't want to hear the cop out, well, they wear bowl patches and they got Nokia and Fiesta. That's completely different. That's completely different.
I don't
It's
know.
the
It's kind of a good
Sugar Bowl.
point. It's kind of a good
It's
point.
the Orange Bowl. It's the Rose Bowl patch.
It's NASCAR in sports. But everyone's doing it though.
And I also agree that yes, there needs to be revenue generating, aspects to get these schools to pay these athletes. But man, will it bother me in the long run? No. In the moment, yes. It's just like, come on, man.
I already went through this in the NHL.
Come
They've got
on.
the sponsors on the helmets, some on the jerseys. I had the same thought you did, this is going to be terrible.
Everybody does it. The pros do it.
But I don't notice it.
The Pels.
Do you notice it in the NBA? I don't notice it.
No, I mean, my favorite soccer teams, like even soccer's
it's
way
way
like
worse.
they put
It's like
the
the whole
whole
jersey.
logo on the front, like how
Yeah.
this big fist on my
Yeah.
shirt. For those that can't see, I got a giant.
You know
fist
the
with a
teams
ring.
by the company
Right,
on the
and
jersey.
you got the small crest on the
Right.
on the heart. It's just annoying, but like
But
that.
LSU's going to do something cool.
Yeah,
I
don't know. But just like the classic jerseys, like I said I was going to say this to Caroline Castor. Shout out to Caroline. But Penn State, that iconic blue Penn State with the Sheets patch, a local grocery chain up there. So I just the USC, like what would In-N-Out Burger on a USC jersey?
that
like,
goes hard. I'm down.
My brain is like exploding right now. It won't bother me in 2 years when it's because
It'll just be normal.
But what I will do, because I'm a sycophant and I love my school, if LSU is the first school to do it, LSU trendsetting, LSU trendsetting, can't stop us. The powerhouse.
Yep.
So I guess what would be, just to kind of a little tangent, what would be the sponsorship jersey you would like to see, or the sponsorship patch on various LSU brands? For me, if I had to eventually relent and have, a sponsorship patch on the LSU jersey, I'll go Raising Cane's.
Yeah.
Started in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. That
And
tells the story.
one right on campus.
Yep.
I would relent and go Raising Cane's for LSU football.
I'll tell you that Gordon G. That would be powerful. That would be awesome.
I think the Gordon G on
What
probably
if it was just his face?
a baseball a face patch. I mean, brand recognition.
Everyone knows him.
I think baseball would get the Gordon G.
Yeah.
What about LSU? Let's go LSU gymnastics. Who would get LSU gymnastics? Whatever Livy Dunn's sponsorship company, modeling agency.
Something Livy Dunn related. Yeah.
Basketball, Shaq's Papa John's. Shaq's has a huge sponsorship with Papa John's right now. But preferably local Louisiana brands.
Don't you think it would be uniform though? Like they would just pick one? I guess it depends on how much
No, you want to up the revenue.
Yeah.
You want to pay for football would probably be the highest.
Right.
Then baseball. then basketball in terms of like
I
price.
think, honestly, I think women's basketball goes
Yes,
ahead of,
women basketball.
Yeah.
Angel Reese. I don't know. She probably has a what would Kim get? Reese. There we go. There we
Done.
go. Problem solved.
Whoever makes Kim Mulkey suits.
Yeah, Kim Mulkey's just gets an entirely sponsored outfit. You know.
Yeah, it's like a straight up NASCAR suit.
Yeah.
Just without the sponsors on it.
Yeah. So I hate it now, but in 2 years it won't matter. But in the moment, it ticks me off.
I get it. And I thought of you because I did that story last
God,
week.
it annoys me right now.
That was my first thought. I was like, Daniel's going to. And I almost said it in the script, but I was like, I don't want to speak for Daniel.
But I want these athletes to get paid.
Yeah.
I really do because
just
they
part of the
deserve
deal,
it.
man.
They deserve it. You know.
And everyone, I mean, again, they did this in the NHL, and
Yeah.
everyone freaked out, the same thing. And, you think the NHL is getting ready for their 100th year, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you talk about that tradition and the original 6 teams and all that stuff, what it means. And they got Boston's got sponsors on the helmets. It's fine. They got on jerseys. It's all good. I mean, it is what it is. It just, at least it's a small patch.
For now.
Yeah, that's a good point. But we'll see. I think there's certain things you can't change.
That white jersey, man. It's just gonna look.
I know it's going to be weird, but it'll be fine.
LSU football brought to you by Raising Cane's.
I mean, hey, you know who's got some Baton Rouge locations opening up soon? Southern Classic Chicken.
Hey,
Let's get them on. No, let's actually.
out.
We need them, so we'll hold on.
I will gladly wear a Southern Classic
will
Chicken.
hold on to Southern Classic
patches
Chicken.
all over my shirts.
Exactly. Yeah, we do it too. And what do you know?
So what are you ticked off about?
Well, okay. So last week, remember in the show, I was talking about the Sabres and how something was going to happen, and I felt bad talking about it on Monday because something's definitely going to happen by Wednesday. Nothing has happened. They've done absolutely jack you know what.
Right.
Looks like they're just going to run it back again with the same roster that hasn't made the playoffs in 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
They are, all of the talk now generates around defenseman Bo Byram. Are they going to trade him? He is an unrestricted free agent. The Sabres have filed for arbitration to talk for his salary.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do. I feel like at this point, any momentum they had in a trade has passed.
Yeah.
I mean, teams are trying to
strike while the iron's hot.
correct,
basically.
and
Yeah.
teams have now signed free agents and they have a plan. And it's terrible. It's brutal. But as ticked off as I am about that, the most ticked off is just people on the internet, right? If you go to the Twitter and you follow a lot of Sabres content like I do, the gloom and doom out there, here's the projected lineup in freaking July.
Right.
Like, people are just so bored out there right now. They got too much time on their hands. It's
Yeah.
like you would think going into this next season, if you went on Sabres Twitter, that they are going to go 0 for 82.
Yeah.
Like, it's just... And I'm reading all of it, dude. I can't stop. Maybe I'm ticked off at myself because I'm just reading it. I'm eating it up. I'm screenshotting it, sending it to my sister.
It's cognitive dissonance. Like, we know this thing is going to annoy us and make us angry, but for my neck of the woods, I follow several anime accounts, video game accounts. I know clicking on this account that I follow, he's going to retweet something that I'm going to be like, yeah, you're right. I'm angry about this thing. Why do I do it to myself? I could just stay offline and be happy and enjoy my content the way I enjoy it. I don't need other people's opinions. Keep making said product and I can enjoy it. I don't need to know that this turd face, for lack of a better word,
That's going on the soundboard.
is critical of something I enjoy. You don't matter, sir.
Yep.
The creator that made this thing who matters, and I want to give them positive affirmation for it. But we do it to ourselves because the internet is an interesting place with a lot of angry people, and I'm one of them sometimes.
Yeah, and I'm a little ticked off at you right now.
Sure. Why? What's up? Oh, the sock game. Yeah.
Sock
Look, today
game.
was a. I'm going to work and I got to walk the dog later, and I got my ankle Nike socks.
I'm rocking. We got Trunks. I don't know how well you can see it, but that's
Shout out Trunks, man. That's a good sock.
That's a very.
It's
good
kid
sock.
Trunks too.
Yeah, it's kid Trunks.
Yeah.
Maybe we can see him grow up one day.
Yeah, I knew I had the pod today, knew we had the interview with Tatum, and then it just
Yeah.
sometimes we just have a case of the Mondays, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And it is interesting that we do record this on the first day of our week, and then we talk about the week. But whatever the case may be, you got anything else?
Love your family.
Yeah.
Like, if you're thinking of a family member and they're still around, call them, love them. Not to make it really heavy, but of course we all know what happened in Central Texas this week with the floods. My condolences, prayers go out to them, all the families affected. I actually lived in Round Rock, Texas, which had a lot of rain fall on them, nowhere near the catastrophe in Kerr County. But just having some familiarity with Central Texas, Prayers go out to everybody out there dealing with that. The cleanup is going to last a while, but the pain that those families are feeling, everyone affected, just well wishes and God bless.
Yeah, that's it, man. Perfectly said. We'll wrap it up there. We love you, Tatum and Paul. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And, of course, as always, thanks to our listeners, viewers, however you enjoy this podcast. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week with what?
The Benchwarmers.
I have no idea. Well, it will be the Benchwarmers.
The Benchwarmers. I don't know what it'll be, but
don't even have a guest yet. We'll figure all that out. Don't worry. We'll see you next week. Thanks for hanging out with us.